Before we get into this episode, there's something that might be of interest that I wanted to tell you about. Scene and Heard, who run this podcast, have been asked by Scotland Food and Drink to undertake a strategic review of the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards. Now, these Excellence Awards have been going for almost 20 years and are a huge mainstay of the food and drink sector. But it's time to ensure that they're still relevant. So if you have ever been involved in the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards, or even if you've ever had an opinion about them, we would love for you, please, to complete our survey. So if you go to the OnFARM Twitter, which is at @on_farm UK, and click the link in the bio, there will be a tab in there that will take you to the survey, and it should only take you a very short while to complete, but we would be enormously grateful. Hello and welcome to the OnFARM podcast. It's Anna here with you again this week. The first thing I'm going to do is actually apologise for the fact that I might be sounding a little bit out of breath for parts of this episode. I am about to join Alistair Marshall, who is the chairman of the Royal Highland Education Trust, on his chairman's charity cycle. Now, I'm lucky. I just have to cycle one day, but Alistair is spending over a week cycling around the whole of Scotland to raise funds for RHET and the wonderful work it does to help to teach children about food, farming and the countryside. So you will hear quite a lot of voices in this episode. Me, breathless, as I said. You'll hear Alistair Marshall. You will hear from a head teacher of one of the primary schools we'll visit. Somebody you won't hear from, but incredibly important, is Bell Ingram. Now, they're not actually taking part in this episode, but they are sponsors, so we're enormously grateful to them. But first off, here is Keith Morton.
I've been involved in organising it, getting the volunteers together, trying to get some cyclists to accompany Alistair so he's not doing it entirely on his own.
And the challenge is that we've all got to keep up, because you've been practising for this for a long time. And
I have been practising daily for the last 6 months. And as you can see, I'm about half the size I was when I started.
But you've got to pace yourself, though, because this is day one of how many days?
We've got 4 days this week, and then we stop for the weekend, obviously, because the schools are shut. And then we've got 3 days next week, and we finish off at the Highland Show. So the last leg is from Glenrothes into the show, and that is, I think, the biggest leg, as in about 37 miles.
Oh, my goodness.
A challenge there. Yeah.
Have they got a masseur ready to
I hope so, yeah. Some
help you
ice
recover?
Buckets ready.
Yeah, absolutely. But can you maybe just tell us, first of all, what this is all about? Why are we here?
Okay, so partly to do with the sheep, which we've got on the back of the pickup here, which is fiberglass sheep, yeah, which is one of the Highland Show sheep because of the Golden Shears competition, which is the national final of sheep shearing, which is this year at the show. So this was a fiberglass sheep which was gifted to RHET from RAS. And there was a competition to come up with the design for the sheep, which ended up having 1,559 entries or something like that.
Yeah.
So the winner of the design ended up being a boy called Daniel Threlkeld from Eaglesfield Primary School. I then came up to the Highland Show to pick up the sheep when it was still white, took it down to a local artist up the road from me, Tricia Barnett at Fallow Studios. She painted it. I then picked it up again in the pickup and took it to a local garage where it was lacquered. And then I took it from the local garage to a local joiner who put a plinth on the bottom of it and made a frame. So we now have it standing regally on the back of my pickup.
You do. And the sheep comes with his own music, which we are not allowed to play on the podcast because of licensing rules. But perhaps you could tell us what the music is, and then all of our listeners could silently hum it to themselves.
So the artist decided, because of the colour on the sheep, which is a lot of blue sky, that it reminded her of the ELO track Mr. Blue Sky. So that's why it's now called Sky the Sheep.
Right, so there you go. Have a moment of silence and hum it to yourselves.
You can go find that on Spotify after you've listened to the podcast, right? Yeah.
Ruth, I'll come to you now because you are our very generous host this morning. You are the head teacher at Stobhill Primary School, where we are right now. What's inspired you, not just today, but in general, what's inspired you to be involved with RHET and think about the importance of teaching our kids more about food and farming?
Well, obviously, farming's very close to my heart, being a farmer's wife and living on a farm, and my husband is a farmer, and we stay not far from the school itself, and we're always promoting all sorts of rural life and rural living in school. And Farmer Tommy is somebody that all the children know very well in the school, and I will talk about the farming year regularly at assemblies, and we discuss what the farming year looks like and what Farmer Tommy is up to in his tractor, which the children love to hear all these stories. So when Keith approached me to have a venue to start the race off, I just jumped at the chance, because although Gorebridge is a very rural community, I would say that there's many children really don't know about sheep and don't really know about the life cycle and the what's all involved with looking after animals, or even what's happening in the fields and what crops are growing in the fields. So any opportunity to bring it alive for children, to have a real live event happening in the school. It's moments like this that children actually remember. Those are little highlights in their year. Those are highlights in their actual primary year's education. Oh, remember when the sheep came to school. Remember when the lambs came to school.
That's Keith's phone. Organisational jobs.
So really important to bring it all alive, as I say, just having the real live sheep and the tractors, etc. And all the very knowledgeable RHET volunteers who do such a lot of great work coming and sharing their knowledge and expertise with us.
Can I just ask you another quick question, Ruth? Why does this matter? Why does it matter that children and young people in Scotland today know a bit about where their food comes from?
Well, of course it matters. I mean, that's the future, isn't it? And it's just really, really important that children know exactly where their food comes from, because they do think it comes out of a freezer shop in Gorebridge. It's vitally important that children know that actually there is so much food produced on their doorstep. You know, we talk about air miles, we talk about lots of different things in school. So this is bringing it all to life.
There's construction going on here of amazingly clever use of a goalpost actually out in the playing fields, using it to create a stand all about British wool. So loads of boards going up, information, there's bags of wool for the kids to touch and see what it feels like, information boards, fabric, info about carpet, pictures, and 4 really helpful volunteers who are going to be running this stand. So actually, if you were here, you could see that this wouldn't be happening without, well, how many, Dave? At least 10 volunteers, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is just one school on one of the days of the cycle. We've got another school this afternoon, and then every other day there's 2 schools. So huge number of volunteers required to make this happen. So what's this arriving, Alistair? I think this is the lambs.
Yeah.
I'm Fiona Ross from Ross Farms. We farm just up the road at Western Midlothian, and I've got 2 pet lambs, or 2 lambs that have been getting fed because the mum didn't have enough milk, so that the kids can see them, touch them if they're allowed to, and I can talk to them about how we rear them. The kids in a town like this, they maybe don't appreciate what all happens behind the scenes on a farm. They don't get the chance to get hands-on experience, probably very often, if at all, for some of the wee ones. Maybe it gives them a better understanding of where their food comes from before it reaches their plate. Now, you're allowed to touch them on the condition that you use some hand gel afterwards. And in here, just like all you guys, they need important things in life. Like you, what did you all do this morning when you got up? Did you all have your breakfast? Yeah! Okay. Well, these guys are the same, and they sleep at night as well. Well, they sleep during the day as well a lot. But they have their breakfast, so they would get milk from their mummies. They eat grass, so the grass in here, when I go away tonight, this pen might be a wee bit, there might be less grass in this area than there is round about, because they might eat some of it. These are pellets that we buy. See? So they're not too big for them to eat, and these are full of all their nutrients, all their goodies, so things that you would get out of your food, like all the vitamins that they need. But these ones, because they're girls, we'll keep them, and then a year come August, September-ish, we'll find a boyfriend for them. And fingers crossed, that means they'll have lambs of their own next year.
Quite a lot of you been on tractors. Do anybody live on a farm? No. So where have you been on tractors?
My grandpa's.
Your grandpa's.
My dad.
Your dad? Your dad drive a tractor, does he? Your stepdad? Oh, that's good. It's quite nice that a few of you have done it. So this tractor is nowadays quite a small tractor, believe it or not. It's 115 horsepower. The reason they use horsepower is because you used to have 2 horses pulling a plough. So now tractors are all considered to be so many horsepower. So that's like 115 horses. I wouldn't like to have to feed and look after 115 horses, would you? It'd be quite a lot of work. But this tractor can do a lot of work.
This is Alistair up on the top of his pickup here, and he's going to tell us a little bit about this sheep, which is up here on the back of the pickup. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Alistair. Thank you, Alistair.
Thank you very much. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. So the reason why we've got a fiberglass sheep is because there's a big competition this year at the Highland Show, and it's called the Golden Shears, which is basically the World Championship for shearing sheep. And so the Highland Show decided...
Hello, my name is Lewis.
How old are you, Lewis?
8. Hello, my name is Reva.
And how old are you, Reva?
7.
7. So Lewis 8, Reva 7. That's brilliant. Reva, what's happening today? Just describe what's happening in your playground.
Well, there's 2 sheep on our football pitch, and there's a tractor over at our basketball thing. So they're doing a cycle around Scotland for charity, I think. I've enjoyed seeing all the sheep and watching the cyclists. I really enjoyed petting the sheep and getting to see the tractor.
So is your programme going to be like a podcast?
It is a podcast, yeah.
So it's going to be on Spotify?
That's exactly right, yeah. Good.
Do you know all about
You could
Spotify,
probably teach your head teacher
Yeah.
all about it.
My mum might listen to it and she'll hear my voice.
Well, what I will do is I will share it with the school, and then the school can share it with you guys and make sure that you've heard it.
It is a very rural community, and you will see tractors in the fields. Do you see tractors in the fields sometimes?
No.
Lots of farmers on the land, looking after the land and
Yeah,
ploughing.
sometimes I can see them ploughing. Sometimes I can see farmers growing crops and something.
And then maybe the combine harvester comes out at harvest time, and the baler and leaves all the round bales lying in the field.
There's a big field that has loads of cows next to it.
Cows in the field. And we've got to be very careful, haven't we, not to go into a cow's field just for safety. So we talk lots about the safety of, walking into a field with your dog, and if there's animals in the field, the dangers that you will potentially be chased. And we have lots of conversations about safety on farms and in the countryside.
Thank you so much, Lewis and Reva. That's been brilliant.
Now I know it's very hot. They're going to get the bikes out the back now, and there's 4 cyclists, I think, leaving today. So if you've got your flag, then we can wave that in a little minute. We'll need to leave a wee path here for them because they need to leave out the school gates, and we can give them a big cheer and a big wave as they head off on their cycle round Scotland.
How you feeling, Anna?
Right, I am feeling okay, actually. Grappling with the decision whether I need to go to the loo before we start, but I think I'll be all right. Getting my high vis on and getting sorted, and I think I've never cycled anywhere and been waved off before, so this feels like a bit of a novelty, but I think it'll be fun. I don't know about you, but it's days like this that stick in your mind from school when you're allowed to do something a bit out of the ordinary and you see something out of the ordinary. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a good learning experience for them. Right, I'm just going to put my large backpack in the car because I'm not carrying that with me. Alistair, this is the first primary school of the trip, but you're visiting many, aren't you, over the next week?
Okay, so we're doing all 13 RHET regions. Today is Lothians to start with, into the borders, so we're going to Walkerburn School. Tomorrow we're doing Dumfries and Galloway, which is Dalry School, to Ayrshire and Arran at Dalmellington. Then the next day is from Port Bannatyne and Bute, which is our Argyll region, across to Kilmacombe, which is Dumbarton, Lothian and Renfrew. And then we go from there to Clyde at Airdrie and into Falkirk. And the following week we start up in Nairn and come into Forres, Arbroath to Invergowrie, and lastly Glenrothes is in the Highland Show.
You really have memorised it. I'm impressed.
I'm trying to memorise the cycle routes as well.
Yes.
End up lost halfway around Scotland.
And we will, it's probably fairly obvious, even though we haven't actually stated it yet, that this is all a fundraising exercise. So we will put the details of the Just Giving in the notes underneath this podcast, wherever you're listening to it, so that you can go and donate to Alistair's amazing challenge.
So Alistair, Anna and the riders are getting geared up to go. The children, the pupils here at the school are being corralled into two lines either side of the main school entrance, and they all have flags that they've made with pictures of tractors and sheep on and really cool things like that. And before very long, I think there will be an almighty noise as the children cheer on and wave off the RHET charity cyclists.
I've had a message from Alan Laidlaw, from RAS. Yes. Good luck. I hope the hills are filled with the cooling light breeze. So do I.
Okay, the children are being reminded to do big cheers. I'm sure they will.
Oh. Yes, you'll get everything.
Right, that's us leaving the car park. There's Dave. Hi, Dave. See you later. Leaving the school grounds. Oh, the first bit looks like it's downhill. If you hear me talking to myself, it's just because I'm still recording for the podcast. I'm not mad. Right, now here we go. We can feel the wind now. Already got amazing views. High above Gorebridge. 5 of us in a gang. Let's hope that there's 5 of us when we finish. But all good humour. All good humour so far. Impeccably well organised, this. If you think about how you have to get the sheep and the pickup all around Scotland, and where are you going to stay the night, and where are you going to recharge your bike, and all that, impeccably well organised. But hilariously, when it comes to the route, none of us who are actually cycling seem to know where we're going. But I don't really mind, because it's just a nice, well, it's Tuesday and I'm not working, which is always a bonus. And it's gorgeous Scottish scenery, so it's a win-win, really. So, we're about halfway now, apparently. That was a fairly hefty hill that we've just been up, but apparently it's all downhill from here. So, it's windy, as you can hear, but oh my goodness, stunning scenery and really fun. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm going to have a sore bum, I think, tomorrow, but I'm really enjoying this. The really nice bunch of people that we're cycling with, and gorgeous, gorgeous scenery. There we go. Lovely Aberdeen Angus in the field there, enjoying the sunshine. Nice river next to them, hoping I'll find one of those later that I can jump into and cool off. Wow, going uphill is different on these, that's for sure. As fitting for a cycle like this, plenty of rural smells, and hopefully you can hear the birds. Hi! We're all here. So, Alistair, we've made it. We are at Walkerburn Primary School. You've finished day one. Tell me about the day so far.
Okay, so the first part of the day went exceptionally well at Stobhill. Kids were great, really receptive, and we left there to cheering and waves flagging. Only slight altercation was with the gate post, as I managed to christen my new trailer, so first blood to me on the first day. So let's hope we can make the rest of the tour of Scotland without any more mudguards getting damaged. But anyway, It's not a big deal.
No. The damage is minimal, and you'll just have to change your identity so that Midlothian Council can't find you.
I don't think there's too much damage at the school, thankfully. But no, the bike, cycle, the ride has been fantastic. The weather's been great.
Hasn't it just? Yeah,
and
amazing.
The scenery's been fantastic as well. So we were then very well fed at Christine Brown's, so thanks very much, Christine. Lovely lunch, and no, it's been perfect.
So if every day's like this, you think you'll be still in one piece this time next week?
Don't know whether we can call it a proper challenge if it's all like this, to be honest.
Well, yeah, indeed. There was a significant hill.
There was a few hills.
I don't think we have burned quite a few calories. I think
we definitely have.
It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, and we've got some good photographs from the top, looking over to the Pentlands, and one of the Borders sign, just to prove that I did cross the county line.
Yes.
So we're looking out for signs for every county line now that we cross over.
So yeah, one day down, and how many more to go? How many is it in total?
So we've 7 in total, so 6 more to go.
So it's going to be a breeze.
Well, yeah.
No, it's not. It's really difficult, and we need you to sponsor us, okay?
If every day's like this and the weather's like this, then it'll make it a lot more enjoyable.
Yes, well, that's the thing. It's got to be a challenge, but it's got to be fun at the same time. So we're doing that.
Thanks to everybody that's joined in with the cycling today as well, and yourself, Anna.
Well, I've really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. The scenery has been stunning. It makes you realise once again how lucky we are to live in Scotland, and it's been fun. And then we're at the primary school, very different school, but similar setup to where we left earlier. Great big John Deere tractor here. We've got sheep in a pen. We're setting up for grinding and showing the kids all about wheat, barley, oats, oilseed rape, and how they convert into the final food product. We've got the great RHET trailer there with all of its hand washing facilities and everything. So we're totally set up. The kids are going to have a great and educational afternoon, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think the same this morning. I mean, it's amazing how receptive the kids were. You know, okay, we're fairly rural in the schools that we've been at, but a lot of those kids haven't been on farm, and they don't understand an awful lot about where the food comes from. So it's great to engage with them and do what RHET does well. Exactly.
And day 1 of 7, so there'll be a lot of kids who've learned something by the end of the week.
Hopefully.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Alistair.
Okay, thank you.
So there we have it, an amazing day, amazing weather, amazing scenery, and an amazing charity to support. And speaking of support, I really would like to acknowledge Bell Ingram here. They have been sponsors for this episode, so thank you once again to them. Without our sponsors, OnFARM quite frankly, wouldn't be able to exist. So we're extremely grateful to Bell Ingram and all of our other sponsors for helping us and allowing us to continue. Fantastic episode. And before I go, I would be neglectful if I did not tell you how you can support Alistair on his challenge. So if you Google, you can keep up with updates as to how he's getting on the Royal Highland Education Trust Facebook page. But if you Google Just Giving Alistair Marshall Cycle Challenge, you will find the page on the Just Giving site where you can donate as little or as much as you can. But we would be enormously grateful for every penny that we can get. So thank you if you do that. And that's me for now, really. I think the next episode in your feed will be coming from the Highland Show. So let's hope this glorious weather stays put for that. And we will see you soon.